Okay, we are hot and live. Hello, hello, glorious people of the planet Earth. Me and Molkai are back for episode 4 of Empire Karaoke, and Molkai has completed, now that all the teams are selected, the entire overview of his deep dive into the World Cup. This is a cutting edge series on the World Cup and all of its participants and everything that it entails. So we're so happy to be here and share this with everybody. And I will let the man of the hour take it away right now. Hey, Mokai.
Hi Mark, how you doing? How you doing?
Very good, brother. How are you?
Oh, all is good, all is good. It all starts on Thursday, eh? South
I
Africa
know it's
versus
very
Mexico.
exciting. Yeah, it's not far
Mm.
away at all. Yeah, I don't I think today is Monday, so 70 hours ish and away we go.
Oh yeah. And also, how is the overall vibe there? I mean, it's like 3 days before the big thing happening. Or
um
maybe
mhm.
is the game against Mexico, South Africa and Mexico is not gathering a lot of momentum there as the opening game.
No, you don't think so?
No, I'm asking if does Mexico versus South Africa have that opening game thing, or
Where
is
where
everyone
what's
waiting?
what stadium do they play in?
They are playing in Mexico City.
Oh, okay. So because I live in the DFW area, Dallas Fort Worth, what they call the Metroplex, it depends on if you're watching national coverage from someone like one of the big American networks. If you're watching a national network here, like Fox Sports or CBS or ESPN, Fox and ESPN basically have virtually, they're the biggest sports networks in the United States. CBS does cover a lot of stuff, golf, horse racing, some college football, things of that nature. So it just depends on if you're watching a national network and a national program. The
Hmm.
local news in my area is so excited for the actual games that are happening at what they're calling Dallas Stadium for the tournament. There's so many teams in the area that I live. So if I'm watching a local news program, it's all about the teams that are already here. Like there's been really big crowds just on the practice fields, so everybody's going crazy about this specific home area if I'm watching the local news or what's
Hmm.
happening in Houston because it's only a few hours away. But if you're watching a national program, they're just excited for the first game period. So the entire tournament has reached a frenzied pitch. Like it doesn't matter what channel you're watching. There are it's World Cup everything all the time right now. It's really reaching a fever pitch.
Hmm. You know, here already there are some fan zones, or not official FIFA fan zones, because
Okay.
I remember FIFA has their own official fan zones which they give a lot of publicity to. Like I think in Dallas, there's a couple of official FIFA zones. But most cities, there's just one. I think it might be Dallas, Houston, and one other city.
Okay.
Not sure, but we'll get through that when we go to cities in another episode, like a city by city sort of thing.
all the
Today we
news
just,
here all the news here is football all the time. I'm sure if I turned it on like Telemundo or something, there's a lot of Spanish channels available here.
mhm.
I'm sure if I turned it on Telemundo for a minute, it would be a pretty big deal.
So Telemundo and Fox actually account for 30% of the TV broadcast
Oh,
revenue.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and it far exceeds any other deal at any
Mm.
point in all the World Cups. Because uh 5 billion is all from the 13 billion that is the budgeted revenue, the expected revenue of 13 billion. 5 billion is resting on US broadcasting only.
Okay.
Yeah, and usually it's not like that. The balance is usually fair. It's not based on the home country's broadcasting. It usually somewhere else, like in Qatar and Russia and Brazil. They looked at the European market, the Asian market, the American market. It's never the host country that's dominating it. So this is actually a big step, and it also shows why the diplomacy has to be managed. You can't find FIFA officials talking badly about American administration or American media. It just doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
That's why whenever we have like questions to FIFA officials and people are looking for a moral answer, they're not gonna get it because of something like this.
Sure.
Yeah, because if broadcasting is American, tickets and hospitality as well, majority of it will come from the US. So you have to respect the host country at some
Mhm.
level. Morality doesn't count anymore. Otherwise, it's too much money at stake here.
Sure.
Way too much money for FIFA. So
Well,
if
it's funny that you bring that up, because one of the things that has become blatantly obvious with so much of the news turning towards this tournament already, I've already like you talking about morality not coming into it. Typical of the United States, that's a one-sided relationship. Like stories are already getting passed around here about how ingracious the United States has been as a host, not letting Iran even sleep in the country, and there's been all kinds of visa issues and banning people and forcing the DRC to quarantine and just on and on and on. There's all these stories already compiling about how ingracious and tacky and juvenile and small some of the United States' behaviors has been, welcoming the tournament to its shores.
like would you say the administration is happy to host, especially at this time?
Well,
They look
this
nervous on camera.
this 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 administration cares about money. Like that is their driving. This has been one of the most corrupt regimes I've ever seen in the entirety of my lifetime. And because of some of their stances, they've created a great deal of inflation at the same time as mass layoffs in the tech sector. They've caused problems in their own bond market. People are moving off of the dollar. So, from a financial perspective, yes, they're definitely happy to have all the lights and brights and cameras and microphones and dollars, and they need all the money they can get right now.
Hmm. And also that exposure of being a safe country, a
Sure.
country to visit. But it's scary, eh? When you
Um,
hear all these stories.
well, I mean, to me, the United States, for its purported place in amongst developed nations, I mean, to me, the United States has already always been kind of a violent place. Like you can, the gun violence here, especially, I don't know where it falls in a global murder rate, but I'm sure it's quite high for its percentage of population. So is it a war zone, like a country that's in a civil war or being bombed by another country? No, maybe not. I mean, maybe the violence is a little bit lower because the United States has never had a war on its own shores, except for the Civil War when they were all just killing each other. So that might change the perception and the numbers of the violence. But I mean, can you get killed in any of number of ways, not natural causes in the United States? Yeah. I mean, I think if you looked at something as simple as the death rate on the highways of just how bad the roads are here and how bad the traffic is, I think just something as simple as highway deaths would be quite high, mixed with all of the other typical gun murder kind of situations.
Hmm.
But no, as just a place to vacation, no, you're not going to get robbed or killed. It's very unusual. You usually the people that, you know, get killed in a national park either, you know, it's a natural accident of some sort. They get caught in an avalanche or bad weather, or depending on if you're skiing or you're hiking in the desert, like people that come here and take a long walk somewhere wild that's really hot, or they're climbing a mountain, just going for a walk up elevation, it might be only 70 or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. But if you're not used to being out and you're in that high of a UV and you get up a few thousand feet, you don't realize how bad you're getting burned, how fast. So you can take a walk somewhere wild. And if you're not used to that environment and you run out of water, you could be in very serious danger. The venomous snakes and bugs, like they're that's a, you know, that's something when people from the world come here. The United States is big and it's quite wild. If you're going on an adventure somewhere in I mean, I guess the safest places would be like a rainforest situation, like around Seattle. If you're up in the San Juan Islands and you're just looking at all the big old pretty trees and you're in a rainforest, not a lot can happen there. But if you're here to ski or something, I mean, yeah, there's any a number of things that can go wrong. It gets really cold, it gets really hot. You know,
Yeah.
there's animals that can hurt you. Like, you know, if you get gored by a bison, I mean, you know, I see people driving all the time. You've been in Montana so much, just those bighorn rams, like people go there in fancy California cars, like chromed out Mercedes and stuff. They don't realize the shinier, more reflective their car is. If those bighorn sheep see their own reflection, they'll smash in the side of your car because they think it's a competing sheep. Like they'll headbutt
Oh,
and bash the car in.
so what you're saying is that, for instance, if I were to come to the United States, my biggest danger is at the border where I deal with the TSA and in the wild. Once I pass the border,
You're
I'm
fine.
in, I'm
You're
fine. I
you're
just have to
fine.
worry
It's
about the danger at the border and the
yeah.
danger in the wild.
Well, and then when it gets really really late at night and you're at one of these fan zone parties, you got to watch out for all the drunk people. There's going to be fighting and stabbing and who knows what's going to happen. But no, it's a very safe place. Americans are really friendly. They
Mm.
love to meet new people. They especially when they're foreigners. It's a really welcoming place. Like it's going to be a really big party.
I think American citizens will probably be the best players at the World Cup, and now that they're gonna be the best players without the exposure, because no one is gonna be documenting things on the street, and
Right.
that's where things happen.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this World Cup, although we talk about how expensive the tickets are, right?
Uh-huh.
In Qatar, the most expensive tickets for the final were around 1,600 US
Oh,
dollars.
okay.
Yeah. And those were the expensive ones.
There's
And
parking
now,
space. There's parking spaces going here for $700.
there's still some tickets with like 300, 400,
Uh-huh.
especially for the group stage matches.
Yeah.
Like there'll be a game between South Africa and the Czech Republic in
Hmm.
Atlanta. There's not a big Czech population there. There's not a big South African population there either.
Hmm.
So those tickets can't sell for 1,000. Mm-mm.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, some South African tickets I saw there were like 600 in Atlanta. The
Okay.
cheapest I saw was 380. That was the cheap. That's what we used for this document
Okay.
as the cheapest because right now to even find a ticket that's cheaper than $500, that's not easy.
Right.
Yeah, but if you live in New York, you're very lucky. You can get a ticket for, is it $60 or $50? But it's only 1,000 are available for 8 million people. So you're lucky if you're in New York, and you're very lucky if you get that $50 ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the interesting part about the prize money for the World Cup, it's that for established nations, the money is very little. Like for instance, the winner of the tournament would get $50 million.
Mhm.
Yeah. 50 million doesn't even buy a top striker in Europe.
Right.
Yeah. But just for participating, countries are gonna make, if you lose all three games, you're making minimum 10,500. Yeah, 10.5 million.
Hmm.
Just for context, when you win the South African league, you get just under 2 million US
Okay.
dollars. Yeah. And that's the whole season.
Right.
Yeah. The
So this is
teams
this is 5x for South Africa for one tournament.
for one tournament to come there in
Hmm.
South African rands, 10.5 million. It's how much? About 170 million rand.
Hmm.
For South Africa, that is a lot.
Good.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
In US dollars, maybe not so much, but also for the purchasing power in South Africa, 170 million. It's a lot. It passes the 4-year budget for the FA.
That's great.
Yeah, so just for getting there, even if they lose all the matches, they banked a lot of money. And this is just for South Africa. We could count other countries too, which are much smaller than South Africa. We
Sure.
have, yeah, your New Zealand, even though soccer is not big there, but getting 10.5 million, that's huge. For New Zealand soccer, that's big. But then when you look at the champions getting 50 million, if France wins the World Cup and they get 50 million, for French football, that's nothing.
Sure.
Yeah, so they playing for history, they playing for something more. The
Hmm.
prize money, I don't think plays too much of a role for established nations.
Sure.
Yeah. But FIFA is also going to give each club money to pay for their players. So for one player, it's about 11,000 per day. So we just use 10,000 as a floor because it's not openly declared by FIFA. So we'll look at the downside of it. So if a club gets, yeah, they're gonna get 10,000 per day for 22 days. That's the minimum each club is going to get.
Sure.
And Europe has the most when it comes to players.
Hmm.
Yeah, it will be Europe and then Asia. But let's look at how much money they're actually going to get.
Okay.
Yeah, the top clubs that are going to get money, I'll just count the first five. And it's
Sure.
interesting because the first five are champions of some sort. We have Manchester City, they're FA Cup champions and League Cup champions in the UK.
Okay.
Bayern Munich, German champions, Champions League semi-finalists. Arsenal, English champions, Champions League finalists. PSG, European champions, French champions. And the last one in the top five is Barcelona, and they're the Spanish champions. So Barcelona has 15 players, PSG 16, Arsenal 16, Bayern Munich 18, and Manchester City has 19 players. And then when you look at clubs that are taking only one player out of, there will be 449 players at the World Cup. I mean, 449 clubs represented at the World Cup. Yeah, 449 clubs represented.
Wow.
And 213 of those have just one player. And then about 59 have over 5 players. But the top 10, they have 11 players. The rest of the top 10 after Barcelona is Atletico Madrid, Manchester United, Crystal Palace,
Hmm.
Al Hilal, and Borussia Dortmund. So it's 9 from UEFA, 9 teams from Europe, and 1 from Asia. Whew. And look at how that translates to the minimum money that Europe is going to make with their players only. It's $188 million,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And then Asia comes second, and they get 40 million.
Wow.
Then it's CONCACAF in South America, 17 million. And then it's CONMEBOL, that's 13.8 million US dollars. That's North America. And then Africa CAF, they get only 11 million. And Oceania, they're gonna get 1 million. That's basic. But if we look at Africa getting 11 million, being a basic, that's made up by 3 teams, 3 big teams. Al Ahly of Egypt, Orlando Pirates of South Africa, and Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa. So it's not, even though African countries will be represented, most of their players play in UEFA. So the prize money is also creating that divide of infrastructure development. Yes, we're going to give everyone is equal because this is just the base. Obviously, Europe is going to go deep into the tournament, so they're going to get way over 200 million.
Sure.
Yeah, but for Africa, Oceania, North America, they have to get their teams in the latter stages
Hmm.
to even get close to 50 million. But then they get that money, they pour it back into football. If Europe is going to get so much money compared to everyone else, over the next 4 years, we can expect them to be better because for them
Player
to get
purchasing.
200,
Sure.
yeah, if they're going to make 200 million from the clubs only,
Yeah.
and clubs in Africa only make 11 million,
Right.
yeah, we can see the financial gap already. And it's
Sure.
also going to show in terms of development, infrastructure, exposure, and all of that.
Of
And
course.
Europe has been dominating the World Cup for the longest of time. Although South America manages to break it here and
Once in a
there,
while. Yeah.
once in a while, in a long while, because it was Argentina in 2022.
Okay.
And the last time it wasn't a European nation was 2002 when Brazil won in
Brazil. Yeah, I
Korea.
remember that one.
Yeah. So just from players, Europe is a winner. I mean, 200 million. Whew,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
And the difference is quite big because the second one is Asia with only 40 million.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then let's look at the type of countries that are going to participate there because countries are people and who's going to realistically be able to come and support their country.
Sure.
Yeah. So one way of measuring that is using the ticket price and the GDP per capita
Hmm.
for the whole year, right? So we looked at the cheapest price that we could find because we're using dynamic prices was the $380. So if we use that as a benchmark that we can use, an average DRC citizen would have to work for 239 days
Wow. To buy a
just
ticket.
to buy a ticket, the cheapest
Hmm.
ticket. Yeah. In Switzerland, the person has to work 1.5 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But these are two countries that are all going to be at the World Cup. Then for the final, a Swiss person has to work barely a month,
Hmm.
but a person from DRC must work at least 10 years to
10 years.
afford the cheapest final
Final
ticket.
ticket. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
10 years. Sure. When others do it within the month.
Sure.
Yeah, they could say that, you know what, I want to go to the World Cup next month and I can save.
Sure.
So in the DRC, if you live in the DRC and you want to attend the World Cup in
A 10-year plan. Yeah. That's quite a long time. That's a different.
2030, is it
Yeah.
34?
You have to really, really love football. Yeah.
Yeah, you must
Yeah.
start saving now. But in Switzerland, it's fine. Even if you
Yeah.
haven't saved yet, you still have time.
Yeah. Well, the Swiss too, I think, are one of the countries that get 2 or 4 weeks paid vacation during the summer at some point. It's like no one in Europe has to work for like the month of August.
So we have a stage where, yes, prices are expensive. Yes, FIFA is gonna distribute money to teams that also didn't qualify. They're also gonna benefit.
Hmm.
So all the money will be distributed, but the way it's gonna be distributed, there's still that inequality. But it's not something that we're saying that it should be resolved this way or that way.
Sure.
But it's something that we can see. Europe is gonna make way more money. And this is money they're making directly into football,
Hmm.
not into other places of like tourism and business. This is direct money to their football.
Sure. It's not discretionary. They don't get to decide where it goes.
Yes. There's
Hmm.
also other things involved, but the amount of money going straight into football, it's going back to UEFA. And the
Sure.
way this is structured, they're banking on maybe saying they're banking on it is a bit accusing them. But we know the
Yeah.
top five, the countries of the top five leagues, and
Yeah.
then Portugal, Netherlands.
Who would ever choose the Europeans of crooked banking?
They put the money there and everyone is getting their fair share. If you win, you're gonna get your fair share.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's go on to the participants, the host countries. Because they don't have to qualify that like the rest of the other nations.
Would any of them have qualified?
The United States missed the last World Cup,
They did.
so
Yeah.
it's possible that they might not have qualified.
I understand. Yeah.
Canada qualified for 2022.
Okay.
but they haven't qualified for the longest of time
Sure.
before that.
Yeah.
Mexico always qualifies.
Okay.
I don't think I remember a World Cup with me alive and there was no Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, but the United States, they have a good squad. They should qualify, but it's not a guarantee. They should.
I yeah.
Yeah, they should. They've got the money, the infrastructure, you have the population.
Hmm.
Yeah, they should win. They should. But as hosts, the problem is that you don't get to play competitive matches until your first game.
Right.
Everything is technically a friendly because you qualified already.
Hmm.
So all these friendlies, they could help with your match fitness, but real match fitness is in real games. So we don't know if they are ready to
Yeah, I
actually
agree.
compete.
Yeah, I agree completely. Yeah, it's what I did watch of them against the Germans, and I don't remember. I think they played the Senegalese before the Germans was the last friendly.
You know, they played Senegal, they played Belgium,
Okay.
Germany.
Germany, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh Pochettino, he seems to run a pretty tight ship. Like with what I did see of the match a few days ago with the Germans, the Americans did have some scrappiness, some chippiness, some toughness. They seemed to play with a little bit of violence. It seemed like they were trying really hard. It seemed like they were playing with a little bit of an attitude, more than I've seen in the past. They seem to play with a chip on their shoulder, like they had something to prove. Like their effort was at a high level.
Yes. But now the question is that the United States is in a group where they are actually the favorites.
Interesting.
Even in terms of ranking, they are favorites. But they have
Interesting.
tough opponents, especially in Turkey and Paraguay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Australia is strong. Is it Australia that's in the same group, right? I think it is Australia. But United States, Paraguay, Turkey, those are the teams to beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but United States, it's a favorite in that group. But we look at Turkey, Turkey might not be ranked high, but they have deadly players.
Mm.
Yes. Like in the United States, when we think of a superstar there, the person who's supposed to be the superstar would be Pulisic.
Right.
Yes, and he plays for AC Milan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then when you look at the Turkish side, we have Real Madrid players, Inter Milan players.
Yeah.
It's a scary lineup there.
Yeah, you made a very good point about the Yankee squad. They don't have a single transcendent superstar player. They really don't. When they win, it really is a team collective, everybody elevating. They don't really have someone scary. You have to make a mistake for them to get uh, a really good offensive chance. It really is a team effort with the Americans.
Yes, and I think as long as they are not uh taken by the home pressure
Hmm.
that they have to attack
Hmm.
and they just remain disciplined. The way they played against Germany, it was a very disciplined performance.
Hmm.
They were disciplined. They were not attacking in an irrational way. They were mocking. They were playing for each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, when they play like that, no, no, definitely they would be. They should go far. They should go far.
they have good size. They have good speed. They have decent stamina. Um, Yeah, I agree with that completely. If they don't get irrational and stay sound and just make the most of their chances, they should be
Yeah,
able to hang in with most squads.
because you know what's misleading about the rankings? The US is 16th in rankings.
Hmm.
Turkey is 20th, I think. But the US team is worth, its squad value is 270 million
Yeah,
estimated, give or take. But Turkey's squad is worth 555 million.
sure.
Yeah, so they're not playing with an easy team.
Right.
Yeah, so on paper, we might say US is ranking higher, but on the balance sheet, Turkey is almost twice the
Yeah.
US.
A
Yeah,
position versus position talent, Turks are right there.
yeah. And because um the World Cup, whenever a nation plays, there will always be what should we know about that nation?
Sure.
Who should we know about that nation? And something that it's not easily known. What we covered here was Frank Little.
Hmm.
As a citizen there, how come people like Frank Little are so much lesser known? Like everyone knows Martin Luther King, for example.
Sure.
Yeah, but Frank Little, you have to go to Montana to even hear about him.
Right.
Why is that? Is he a threat to the Democrats or the Republicans or just the establishment in general?
Well, it is, you said it the right way. It's the establishment in general. People don't realize that people like Big Bill Haywood and the Wobblies and Frank Little, America is always has this constant class struggle. The in the 1920s, when we had what we called the robber barons, uh, the Rockefellers and Big Oil and the guy from Chase Manhattan. So the United States used to have little kids, immigrants, 10 and 12 years old, working in factories like 12 or 18 hours a day. People just work to death. If you're a poor or working person in the United States, it's just work, work, work till you die. That's all it is. So there's always a huge class struggle. So anybody that had anything to do, like Frank Little, people don't realize the United States used to have socialist mayors. There were at least a dozen socialist mayors that ran really big towns, one in Oklahoma, Milwaukee, on and on. You can find examples of states and cities that really truly believed in the Wharton School style. What is a public good? Take care of your workers. Henry Ford deciding to pay his employees enough money to live somewhere decent and actually buy the cars that we're making, he decided that was better for the company than paying them nothing and they're not allowed to participate in the economy in a meaningful way. So the United States is always vacillating of where the money goes, to what end, for who, what is a public good, what isn't. So that's why people like Frank Little, you don't hear anything about. They don't want working class people empowered in any way whatsoever, especially especially since the mid and late 70s when the United States decided to give up all of its productive capacity and bring China into the WTO. Now they don't want any labor union participation whatsoever. They don't want workers having access to good education. They don't want them. Everything here is a worker race to the bottom, like very high taxes for the working class. very little public transportation infrastructure, very little public goods. Now, so that's why you don't hear things about worker empowerment or people like Frank Little.
Oh, okay, no, that makes sense. And it also makes sense that it's not just the administration in charge that keeps it quiet. It's also the corporations and the opposition.
It's the
So,
corporations, period. Yeah, it's anybody that knows the work of Sheldon Wallen, his book Democracy Incorporated. The United States is completely beholden to and taken over by its largest corporations. It is a corporate takeover.
hmm, okay. So, you know, when we talk about the United States, I like that we can have the home opinion, you know, instead of just talking numbers. Like for example, uh the cheapest final ticket is 6,000,
Mhm.
and using GDP per capita for the United States, that's 7% of the annual income.
Sure.
So overall, it doesn't look bad. But what about for a person who's local? Do they feel the same way?
No, absolutely not. I mean, well, that's one of the funny things. It's one of the reasons that the United States does use GDP because of their richest people are so rich. GDP is actually a really silly measurement because the
Mm,
economy of the United States is so bifurcated. If they use something like PPP or PPI, if they had a real measurement, GDP doesn't make any sense in the United States anymore.
mhm,
You have the top 10% and the top 1% of the United States specifically is so rich. Using them as an overall economic temperature taking mechanism is just completely foolish. I mean, why would you put someone that, works at McDonald's for a living and after taxes maybe makes $350 a week? Why would you put them in the same economic basket and just do a simple division with someone who's worth the United States is about to have its first trillionaire. I mean, so
yeah.
people like it just doesn't make any sense. GDP is a completely wild disconnect from what the American economy actually looks like. So, an actual working class person in the United States, $6,000 is realistically a month and a half or 2 months of their income at least.
Mhm. Oh, that's way more than 7%, eh? And this
It's
is
way more than
the cheapest
7%.
ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is using the
Yeah.
cheapest ticket.
Uh-huh.
And also, when we look at all 48 nations that qualified, by far per capita, the health spending per capita in the US is by far the highest.
Uh-huh.
But I'm sure it does not feel that way because um, the United States spends 12,000 US dollars per capita.
Yeah.
And second is Switzerland, and that's 9,000. And then Norway, Germany, 8,000, 6,000.
Hmm.
Then all the way at the bottom is DRC. They spend $12 a year per citizen. Uh, Haiti, $18, Ghana, 55, Senegal, 55. And you only start getting into your hundreds with Egypt. So that would be Ivory Coast, Senegal, Ghana, Haiti, and DRC. They get the government spending is only per capita, it's under $100 for the whole year.
Yeah.
But in the United States, per capita is 12,000. But we know that's not true. We know that's not true because Americans complain about healthcare costs, unlike in Europe where they have universal healthcare.
Sure.
Yeah. So when a local person sees these kind of matrix saying that the United States is by far spending more on their citizens on healthcare than any other country,
Yeah.
and it does not resonate with them because it doesn't feel that way.
Well, it's just because the health outcomes are so poor. Like because the American health system is just made to make money and the expenses are so high. Um, the health outcomes are very poor. Americans have poor diets. I'm not saying that some of it's not their own life choices and problems, but when it comes to actual healthcare, like the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States is medical bills. If you actually get sick here, the insurance companies in the United States will figure any reason they can think of to kick you off your own insurance. So not only are you paying the most, but if you actually get sick, you might be in an endless, expensive legal battle with your own insurance company because they will deny the coverage that you've been paying for the whole time. So basically, rich people here get looked after okay. If you're poor and get really sick, you're probably just going to croak. Like you're going to die. Like that's what's going to happen.
No, man, that's sad though.
It's
But
it's really weird for a place
yeah,
always bragging about how rich it is. The way that it treats its poor citizens is it's not civil. It's quite predatory. It's rude and it's silly and it doesn't make any sense.
because if I'm a politician and I see these numbers, I can easily say we are the best country in the world. Look at how much we're spending per
Uh-huh.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the next best country is the country that other people might actually want to imitate. That will be Switzerland.
Yeah.
You can say that we are better than the Swiss, and that those is what the numbers are saying.
Sure.
But we know that numbers is not what happens on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to wrap up, the US as the host,
Uh-huh.
because they are gonna host 70% of the matches. Um, so is this true that, or does it feel true that football, like soccer, is the fourth national sport? That will be after your football, the one with the hands and stuff,
Yeah.
and
Baseball and
basketball.
basketball. Yeah, basketball and baseball probably. Uh-huh.
Oh, not hockey.
I was actually well, so that was probably my own personal bias because I grew up somewhere that's just hockey crazy. Um, so no, it didn't shock me. When you said it, it made sense. Like when you said soccer was right behind back 50 or 60 years ago, even all the way to 100 years ago, it was horse racing, boxing, baseball. Like those were the three kings of American sports until football really started taking off in the 60s. So,
Hmm.
but as soon as you told me soccer was number four, that does make sense. Like kids, almost all the elementary and junior high schools, like almost every single school here does have a serious soccer team. They field soccer teams. So when you told me that, I was like, yeah, I could see that. I thought it was ice hockey, but no, soccer makes totally sense. Behind football, basketball, baseball, yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense. Yeah, and there's a lot of soccer players here. They take it very seriously.
So no, I think it's good luck to the US teams. I mean, as hosts, as long as the host is performing, the World Cup has magic.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe I think best case scenario is if they equal their best result, and that is third place, losing in the
Wow.
semifinal. That would be something.
That would be something. That would really, really be something. I think that could
Yeah.
really that would kick off a whole new generation of just rabid soccer nutcases in the United States. That would be a really big deal.
So it's happened before, so it's not theory. They've been
Yeah.
third before. They were third in the 1930 edition.
Okay.
That's the first one. That's where Uruguay won.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe do it like the class of 1930, but not the German class, not the German class, the
Right.
football class of the United States. Next part, Mexico. They are interesting because they have a mix of European football culture, and they have that Mexican culture as well. Because
Hmm.
their team is made up of 50-50. They have 50 players playing in Europe, and the other 50% is home based or continental based. Or
Okay.
maybe some of them are in South America. But they're interesting because their style is so different. They have flair, but they're also disciplined.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in their group, Mexico, they should they should win, but they're up against the Czech Republic. And yeah, I think it's just the Czech Republic that can really rival them. South Africa and South Korea, uh, it'll be a huge upset. Like it will be a very, very big upset.
Okay.
Yeah,
To beat
but
the Mexicans.
yeah, to beat Mexico,
Yeah.
well, for South Africa, I mean, the South African squad is worth about 70 million. The Mexican squad is worth about 200 million.
Hmm.
So already there's that big gap. So the US and Mexico, their squads are not too far apart. They're sort of like similar.
No, whenever they play each other, it's a battle. Like it gets really rowdy. It doesn't matter if it's here or there. Those games are always a
Hmm.
slugfest.
The thing is with some European-based American players,
Uh-huh.
when they're playing Mexico, it's as if they give up, especially in the second half when things are really bad.
Hmm.
It feels as if they used to give up. But now with Pochettino there, Pochettino he has that history, and we know him that if you're playing for him, you are fit.
Hmm.
When he coached Tottenham Hotspur between the 60th and the 90th minute, Tottenham would kill you. They'll
They
finish you
just,
off.
yeah, they just don't get tired. Yeah, they get
They
better.
never,
Yeah,
they just
yeah,
run.
yeah.
And I saw that with Germany too. By the
Hmm.
time Germany, when you're playing Germany on with the friendly, the Americans could easily play an extra 30 minutes, 45
Yeah.
minutes extra. But
Hmm.
Germany,
They
I
were
don't think,
gassed. Yeah,
yeah,
that was a wrap. Yeah.
I don't think so. But yeah, Mexico's squad, it's worth 200 million. And for them, uh, their citizens to buy the cheapest ticket, it's 3% of their annual income. And for them to buy the cheapest ticket for the final is 50% of their annual income.
Wow.
That's a big jump from
It's a
7%
big
to
jump.
50%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I don't think the Mexican drug lords will have any problem, but everybody else.
and their best finish is the quarterfinal. It's realistic given their path. They have a very realistic chance of going beyond the quarterfinal, but by then they'll be playing in the United States. They won't be host anymore. So in
They're always a fun watch. Like they're just so tough. They're tough. They're fast. Like they're always a fun team. They're explosive. Like they
yeah,
make, yeah, they're always a fun watch. Like the Mexicans don't quit. They never give up.
and being at home, they're gonna be very motivated.
Yeah.
And of course, football there, it's the number one sport by
Uh-huh.
far.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what comes second
Probably
in
boxing.
Mexico.
Yeah. Probably
Yeah, but
boxing. Yeah.
football by far, it's the number one. But I like keeping in mind how citizens realistically can actually go see the World Cup.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah, when tickets are 6,000 and now they're much more expensive,
Sure.
we can't expect an average citizen because we already know that the inequality there with income,
Hmm.
it's just like the US. You have a
Yeah.
lot of people who are poor, and you have the tiny percent who are rich,
Yeah.
and they skew the percentages out.
Hmm.
So it's realistic to say in the US, instead of saying that it takes a person 7% of their annual income, realistically we can multiply that by two or three to get a
Yeah.
real average person.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in Mexico, if we multiply it by two, that's the whole year's worth of income.
Sure.
So you have to save for at least a year if you're an average citizen in Mexico to see the final with the cheapest ticket. And Canada. Oh, with Canada as a football nation, it it's kind of weird to see them, eh?
It is. I
It,
was
it,
shocked. I didn't really know. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever heard about Canada being in the World Cup.
the thing is, they invested a lot in their youth systems.
Okay.
So over the past 8 years or so, we'll say the past decade, they've had a lot of players playing in the MLS and playing in the Copa Libertadores and playing in the UEFA, and now they're
Hmm.
playing in the Champions League as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so their squad is worth about the same as Mexico, 200 million.
Hmm.
Yeah, and for the final, the ticket represents 11% of an average Canadian.
Sure.
Yeah, I wonder if that feels true for Canada.
Yeah, yeah, it does. The inequality in Canada, um, the bifurcation is not so extreme as somewhere like the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like,
Canada has a much larger, if you did it per capita by population percentage, I would think that what the Americans consider upper middle class or being at like around 120, $150,000 a year salary. I feel like Canada has a much larger percentage per capita upper middle class. That seems normal in Canada. They have a lot more people at that 150 to quarter a million dollar level.
mm-hmm. And the players, they have players who are playing in the English second division, the Belgian league, the German Bundesliga. I think the biggest player would be Alphonso Davies. He plays
Okay.
for Bayern Munich, but he's been having some injury issues, but he's a big player. If he's on form, Canada will be very dangerous.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the good thing is their citizens will be able to travel,
Yeah,
and some of their games, if they were to qualify for the next round,
yeah.
are not too far from home. They could be playing in Seattle or San Francisco.
Okay.
Is it San Francisco? Yeah, Seattle and San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the United States makes such a big deal about illegal immigration all the time, but it's really funny. Throughout the 90s and 2000s, the most illegal immigrants in the United States were Canadians.
It's the same here. People like right now there's a big xenophobic movement going on. People are
Okay.
protesting. They're saying foreigners are stealing our jobs.
Sure.
Last week, 300 Ghanaians went back to Ghana with the
Uh-huh.
help of the Ghanaian government.
Sure.
Yeah, so one of the politicians was asking the protesters, was like, 300 Ghanaians left. Show me 300 jobs now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're saying they're taking their jobs. And when you ask them, okay, what job do you do specifically that you're saying that
They
another
took
person
from you.
stole?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
usually they don't say anything.
Yeah.
It's election year. That's always happens with
Hmm.
election year.
Yeah.
But the point I was making is that people always shout about Nigerians, Zimbabweans, Mozambicans. Yeah, those are the people usually are targeted, especially Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, and Nigerians.
Hmm.
They have it the worst.
Okay.
But the most illegal immigrants we have in South Africa, they're from Lesotho, they're from Swaziland. And it's very rare to hear anything about them. And
Mm.
it's also what plays into it is the language too.
Okay.
A person from Lesotho speaking, Lesotho is also an official language in South Africa.
Ah,
There is no way of knowing what language they speak.
sure.
Yeah. You won't know they're from Lesotho or they're from Swaziland unless they tell you. But a person from Nigeria, it's obvious because they won't know some official languages in South Africa,
Yeah.
especially the ones in South Africa. If you know English, you're okay. But
Hmm.
if you know English, a little bit of Afrikaans, a little bit of Zulu,
You'll
and
get
then
by.
you'll
Yeah.
get by with anything. So yeah, no, with these sort of things, I wonder what makes people just go out into the streets and harass people just because they're from another country. And you're gonna blame them for stealing a job, which I don't know, maybe it was promised to you 3,000 years ago.
Right.
Oh no, we can't be fighting for promises from 3,000 years ago.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's weird.
yeah. So, um, because Canada, Mexico, and USA qualified as hosts, teams that actually qualified include Haiti and Panama.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Interesting. Panama has a squad value of only 35 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Only 35 million compared to 200 million of Mexico, 200 million in USA, 1.4 billion in other countries. And for them to qualify, it's huge. It's very huge.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And the final ticket represents 35% of the annual income. And the cheapest ticket represents 2% of their annual income. Most of their players play in South America or North America. And they have a player, I think 2 or 3 players from Russia, but the majority is from the United States, Canada, Mexico, and South America.
Sure.
Yeah. And they're not very big per se. But in football, yep, it's the number one national sport.
Hmm.
And they're actually a good team, eh? Because they qualified for 3 World Cups.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not easy to qualify from the North American continent because of Mexico, USA,
Right.
and Canada now. And Costa Rica used to qualify a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, oh, before we leave uh, Panama for a bit, in 1989, this is something that for each participant, we just added in a small little trivia fact that is not always found. The
Yeah,
invasion
the
of,
societal cultural facts that you added are really fun and cool and interesting.
yeah, the US invaded Panama in 1989. So the United States invaded Panama to remove Manuel Noriega, and they killed an estimated 500 to 4,000 civilians. And that's not too long ago, eh?
No,
1989.
it's not too long ago, and the game playing that was going on there then. Was old enough to remember that vividly and see all of the footage and the helicopters and everything. This was also at the tail end of the Iran Contra scandal, where the U.S. was financing. This was at the end of the Iran-Iraq war that the Americans were paying for. It was oversaw by a general by the name of Oliver North. There's the CIA game playing throughout the installation of the Chilean guy. So this was all about drug money and who had control of it. And but yeah, I remember that operation vividly.
Mm. And one thing that it was a bit difficult to ignore, but I don't know whether we'll be putting people in danger by talking about this. So the Pan American Highway, it
Hmm.
has this 100-kilometer stretch of roadless jungle between Panama and Colombia
Yeah,
that's notorious for migrants from South America and the
yeah.
Caribbean.
Hmm.
Yeah. And this, when they're talking about a roadless jungle, it's interesting. A person to just go and look at that place. There are plenty of YouTube videos and a lot of stuff on the internet about this gap. It's called, what do
Yeah,
you
the
call it
Darien
again?
Gap. Yeah.
Darien Gap.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think when Panama is playing, someone should just look it up, look at that 100-kilometer stretch of road.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I think hopefully Panama performs well. I don't think they ever got out of their group. No, they've
stage.
never got out of the group at the World Cup.
Hmm.
Yeah. Another qualified team from the North American continent. How do we pronounce this country, this island country? Is it Curacao
Cur-
or
yeah,
Sao?
Curacao. It looks a little Brazilian. This is interesting to me, and I don't want to get it wrong. So I'm gonna just look it up really quick.
Curacao.
Yeah, Curacao. Uh-huh.
Oh, that's the last qualified nation from North America. And do you have the document open there? I hope
I do.
not. Oh, you
Yeah,
do.
I do.
Oh, so you see the squad value of, is it Curacao? It's
Curacao.
Curacao.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, their squad value is under 20 million. Yep, it's under 20 million.
17.
Yeah, 17 million. Playing against squads worth so much money. I
Yeah.
mean, the differences there are just too big. Now let's go over the Pacific Ocean into Asia. We have some countries that qualified. The most uncomfortable one for one of the hosts is Iran. They coming in with a squad valued at 60 million. They're the first team from Asia to qualify.
Wow.
which is good because South Korea has a very strong squad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but Iran qualified before them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it tells you a lot about the fighting spirit because they don't have players playing in big leagues. They're all playing, most of them are playing in Asia.
Sure.
I think that's why their valuation is also so low. And
Yeah, 60 million.
this is the seventh appearance at the World Cup.
Wow.
But appearing at the World Cup, and this will be the first time where they only allowed to play at the World Cup. They're not allowed to
Mhm.
sleep at any of their games. They can't sleep in the US.
No, the Americans are making them fly back to Mexico after every single game.
Yeah, and I don't think that will be
So
talked
that's
about.
going to make that's going to make their after game recovery much harder. All of their diet, their icing, their stretching, their cramps, like
Yeah,
that's to play a game and have to immediately get on an airplane and you can't stretch or get treatment. I mean, it's going to make the tournaments that much harder.
because them going to Mexico, all of their games are in the United States, and they're in
Yeah.
the Northwest. Yeah, the Northwest, because
Uh
one of their games is in
Seattle.
Seattle. Yeah,
Okay.
they're in Seattle. From Seattle to anywhere in Mexico, it's far.
4 or 5 hours at least. Yeah, 5 or 6 hours. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a short flight.
So you play your game, you fly out. Even your training session is not going to be too good. Then
No,
you're going to have
it's
to fly again 4, 5, 6 hours.
yeah,
In a way, this is jeopardizing the integrity of the competition.
it really does. It puts them in so much harder of a spot if they're able to win dealing with all of that. I mean,
Oh, can you
yeah,
imagine the amount of videos, exposure? They're going to be heroes, not just in Iran, in every other Lebanon.
globally, yeah, it's
Yeah. I mean, people already know what they're going through. I saw them
mhm,
when they were leaving home, and I don't know what they call it. Like they have the Quran, and then I don't know whether it's a priest or something,
mhm,
or a pastor, or maybe it was God. I don't know who it was. They
sure,
hold the book, and then they do something, and then they leave. Like a sort of like blessing their voyage.
yeah, yeah, mhm,
Yeah, and then they arrived in Mexico. They got a nice, neat, warm welcome. But then you think that they're gonna arrive in the US to play their first game. If they come out and say we're harassed by the TSA officials,
sure.
because there's one journalist who got detained for like 10 hours.
Oh wow, yeah,
And all of those things, they're gonna count when they're playing. Every
absolutely,
pass they complete. If
yeah,
they score a goal, probably the commentators won't be allowed, but every goal they score, it will
yeah.
be something.
Everybody that has lived in a country that was invaded by another country that fought in a war and had family that died for a
Mm.
resistance movement. I mean, they're going to be great champions and heroes. I mean, what that's such a an amazing thing to overcome.
Oh yeah. I think when Iran plays, even if they lose, them just being able to play there. I mean, you're gonna have the players there, their families. Others are not gonna bring their families for obvious reasons. You
Yeah,
don't want to
sure.
put them at risk
To
unnecessarily.
get interrogated and yeah, probably
Yeah.
arrested for yeah,
They're going to
sure.
be interrogated at the border. They're going to be interrogated before they get to the match.
Sure.
It's just scary.
Uh-huh.
And you have another country that's an ally of the US. they have a very fragile, they call it a ceasefire in English.
Hmm.
Yes, but they have what they call a ceasefire. They bombing Lebanon, and there's no guarantee it will stop during the tournament, and there's no guarantee
No,
that Iran won't get bombed.
sure.
And the players, obviously, they're going to think about home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and people will also focus on how brave they are for
Yeah.
anything that they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for Asia, they qualified first, and they're probably the best competitor for Asia. That's looking at their form.
Hmm.
On paper, South Korea by far.
Sure.
Yeah, by far. I mean, South Korea's squad is valued at like 300 million.
Wow.
Yeah, they have very good players playing in Champions League,
Yeah.
Big European clubs.
325 million. Hmm.
Yeah. So form, yes, it's Iran. Money-wise for Asia, that would be South Korea and Australia. Although their
Hmm.
squad is not that strong. It's just the country that has a lot of money.
Sure.
Yeah, so for Australian citizens, they are looking at 9% of their annual income to come see the final. And the cheapest ticket represents less than 1%. And then South America. In South America, we have the big ones that are obvious.
Yeah.
Brazil, Argentina. But when you look at Argentina, their squad is not very balanced. Yes, the squad was worth 600 million, but they're not very balanced.
Okay.
Yeah, they have good players. Messi is a good player,
Getting
but
old. But yeah, nearing 40 is past your prime.
if Argentina were to play any of the European teams, who the way they're so technical and everyone has to run, but then again, football is a moment sport. Messi needs one moment,
Hmm.
and he's proven time and time again that he can deliver.
He
But
comes up big.
yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think as champions already. I think they're also gonna have the champions curse. That curse that France had in '98, Germany had it in 2010,
Sure.
Spain had it in 2020, in 2014, Germany had it in 2018. Only France, they're the winners of 2018 when they went to 2022. They
Hmm.
almost defended it. They went all the way to the final.
Wow.
But before that, every other champion from 1990, the champions always go out in the group stages.
Okay.
Yeah, they had the champions curse. So I wonder if Argentina is gonna have that. But even though Argentina has such a strong squad worth above $500 million,
Yeah. 600, 660, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, Argentine citizens do not afford it, eh?
Right.
The ticket to the final at its cheapest level accounts for 41% of their annual income.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's too much. And Argentina also has a very unequal society.
Yeah.
So we can bet it's much more than that.
Sure.
Yeah, much, much more than that. And they also suffered from inflation. A couple of years ago, they had almost close to hyperinflation there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the people who the Argentine establishment does not really like talking about is this person called Rodolfo Walsh,
Hmm.
journalist and intelligence analyst. He wrote an open letter to the military junta on the first anniversary of the coup in 1977, documenting torture, disappearances, economic destruction. He was killed by a Navy task force the following day, and
Wow.
his body was never returned to his family. Rodolfo Walsh. If it wasn't for the World Cup, I would not know this person.
Hmm.
And we can see why they're keeping it under wraps.
Yeah.
Hmm. And then the capital of football, the home of football, Brazil,
Yeah.
coming in with a squad worth $1 billion.
Wow.
Hey, they're always favorites, but they're favorites because they are Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the squad is not the best pound for pound. Certain areas, yes, we could argue, like you have the Vinicius Juniors, Marquinhos, Alisson, and the goalkeeper, Gabriel, who plays for Arsenal. But even him, people would argue is like, oh, but his performance at Arsenal is only this season. I wouldn't say Brazil has the best players in every position.
Okay.
There are only few positions where we can argue for that, but otherwise, they just have a squad that's valuable, and they're gonna have to earn that 1 billion.
Sure.
That that value of 1 billion, it'll either be too heavy or it'll make things very smooth for them.
Sure.
But it won't be smooth for their citizens though, because the World Cup final ticket accounts for 62%
Yikes.
of their annual income.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they qualified fairly easily. They brought in an Italian coach, which is unique for Brazil. They usually go for their own coaches.
Sure.
But right now they brought in someone who doesn't have a lot of experience in national team coaching,
Okay.
but he's notorious with big name players. He knows how to win. He doesn't need strategy, he just needs players.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brazil and Argentina's combined value is bigger than most countries. 1.6 billion.
Billion. Yeah.
Yeah. And in Brazil, an interesting person to look up is Chico Mendes, a rubber tapper, a trade union leader, environmental activist.
Hmm.
He fought against the deforestation in the Amazon. He was shot
Sure.
in a he was shot at his home in 1988 by ranchers who was opposing his work. So the deforestation of the Amazon is always in the news,
Yeah.
but the activists like Chico Mendes are never talked about,
Right.
which is weird. It's very weird because we always keep fighting global warming. Then, like the Amazon, there's deforestation industry there.
Yeah.
But when we look at people who actually are activists there or who were activists there,
Hmm.
then there's nothing. It's all quiet. They just say, ah, no, the planet is getting hot because of the Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't say, don't go killing people like Chico Mendes, because those
Right.
are people that inspire everyone else. But that's South America's prospects. Other countries that qualified there are Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, which is in the same group as the United States, and Uruguay. That makes up South America. Now, in Africa, who Africa teams in Africa are they're weird because of what football represents here, both
Mm,
in economics point of view and just general people. Because even if people live in a poor neighborhood or in rural areas, there'll be a place where you can listen or watch the game.
sure.
Yeah, you'll see in the document 100% of most nations have electricity access. But when you go to African nations, that's when you find countries like Ivory Coast, only 72%.
Yeah.
The population has electricity. Senegal is 67%, and South Africa is 89%.
Hmm.
We should know because we have something here we call load shedding. I don't know if you heard about it. So
No.
load shedding is when they sort of like ration electricity.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be like for an hour or 2 hours, this area doesn't have electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had that for the longest of time. And for me, where I am now, I live in the city of Ekurhuleni. We haven't had load shedding in 400 days.
Okay.
So we're counting, we're counting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're counting. So South Africa, we'll just look at South Africa just a little bit. Our squad is worth 65 million. And interestingly enough, we have a population of 62 million.
Okay.
So our squad is worth $1 per person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the ticket to the final for South Africa represents 103% of the annual income
Wow.
of an average South African.
Yeah.
Yeah, but since I'm an average South African, I would say it's not 100%, maybe 200, 300%.
Sure.
Yeah, because South Africa is very, very unequal. To see how unequal South Africa is, you go to the nicest places. When you visit them, like where there are mansions and stuff, there will be a place where that suburb ends and barely 5 kilometers away, there will be an informal settlement. No electricity, the poorest of the poor.
Sure.
Yeah, that's how it is in most upmarket suburbs.
Mm,
Yeah, closer to me, there's a place called Santon. And once you cross a certain road, you go into a township called Alexander. The population in Alexander is just over 500,000 people, but it's probably the size of MetLife Stadium.
wow.
The stadium, that area on that stadium only.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are 500,000 people there.
Wow.
Hmm. So that's South Africa for you. And also in South Africa, football is the number one sport here.
Hmm.
Yeah. And interesting thing about South Africa is June 16th is a holiday. So this will fall within the World Cup period.
Okay.
June 16th is a holiday. We commemorate the students of 1976. They were protesting against the apartheid government because they were forced to learn in Afrikaans. But not only that, they were given what we called Bantu education.
Hmm.
It was the bare minimum education meant for manual labor.
Mm,
Yeah. So June 16, 1976, children, it started in Soweto. So you had the kids there from primary school all the way to high school. The one kid who was famous, he was one of the first ones killed. When you look it up, you will see a picture of him being carried by someone. His name is Hector Peterson. So the memorial is also called the Hector Peterson Memorial.
oh,
Yeah, but the interesting thing about 1976, that movement was not part of the established freedom fighters.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it wasn't the ANC at work there. By that
Sure.
time in the 70s, the ANC was either outside in Lusaka, in Europe, but internally they were weak because most of their leaders were arrested by this time in 1976.
Hmm.
So we had other smaller parties, but they don't really get the recognition. We just commemorate 1976 as for the students of 76. But the organizations that were behind it, you have to go looking. Oh, in Soweto, there was one particular organization. In another township, like in Tembisa, there was a different organization. In townships in KwaZulu-Natal and the Western Cape, because all of these things spread across townships all over South Africa.
Sure.
Yeah. And
So
one
it's
last,
yeah, a mosaic of continuity.
yeah, one last person who's very interesting in South Africa is the guy called Robert Sobukwe. He was the leader of the Pan-Africanist Congress.
Hmm.
So interesting thing about this guy, you know how Nelson Mandela is known as the liberator of South Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From in the outside world. Sure.
Even here in South Africa,
Oh, okay.
yeah, in schools, you don't learn about Robert Sobukwe. You'll finish high school and elementary school, primary school, about, and you might never hear his name.
Wow.
But this guy, the apartheid government put him in prison in solitary confinement in at Robben Island. He had his own place.
Hmm.
And then they had a law specifically for him. It was called the Sobukwe Clause, where it could be renewed annually by the Minister of Justice at his own discretion.
Wow.
Hmm. And no other person has that. So when a person reads about Robert Sobukwe,
Yeah.
they're gonna see why he was such a threat. And that's why even the current administration, they do honor him, but it's very low key.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very, very low key. And then another country we can touch on in Africa is the DRC,
Yeah. Have to do
Democratic,
DRC. Yeah.
Democratic Republic of the Congo. By metric, they are the poorest nation that qualified. And only 21% of their 100 million people have access to electricity. And as we mentioned, the ticket to the final is 1,000%. That's 10 years worth of work
Yeah.
for
That's
what
incredible.
was the cheapest ticket at 6,000. And then the cheapest ticket represents 65% of an average Congolese player, citizen. And their squad is worth 110 million. They have players playing in Europe, though. They have a decent squad. They
Hmm.
definitely have a decent squad. Probably one of the best in Africa, behind Morocco and Ivory Coast and Algeria. Yeah, I'd say they have a good squad. And this is their second appearance at the World Cup. And for them, the last time they went to the World Cup, they were not called the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They were called Zaire. And it was called Zaire by Mobutu Sese Seko. He changed what was Congo then, and then changed it to Zaire. But before that, which comes in our detail that we want to highlight, is Patrice Lumumba.
Hmm.
Yeah, the first democratically elected prime minister of DR Congo. And he was executed by a firing squad and they dissolved his body in acid. And the Belgians and the CIA have documented involvement in that
Certainly.
in 1961. So the thing about Petrus Lumumba and why we included him here,
Hmm.
the DRC has a super fan who imitates the Lumumba stunts.
I can't wait to see it.
You can't miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if the TV camera people try and not show him, people at the stadium will want to take pictures and
Hmm.
videos of him. He stands on
Absolutely.
a little step stool and he's still for the duration of the game.
Wow.
At halftime, he goes wherever he goes,
Sure.
but during the game, he holds the pose of Petrus Lumumba, the same as they did with the statue in Kinshasa. So his name is something that's going to be talked about just by seeing that one supporter who's traveling with the official delegation of the DRC government.
Hmm.
Yeah, because the players were like, we can't play without him. He must be there.
Yeah.
He couldn't get a visa to go watch them in Mexico during the qualifiers.
Wow.
Yes, and if he was traveling as just a normal supporter, no diplomatic power behind him,
Hmm.
he might not have
Have
gotten
been
his visa.
allowed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we all want the DRC to go far just because of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the DRC and South Africa are joined by Egypt, Capo Verde. Capo Verde is also their first World Cup. Algeria, Senegal, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Morocco, and Tunisia. Yeah,
Amazing.
that's all for the CAF, Confederations of African Football. And now let's go to the money side of football, UEFA.
Yeah.
We'll start with the country that has the most expensive, the most valuable assembled squad, $1.4 billion. And that is the Three Lions of England.
Hmm.
And they dwarf so many. And to think that they only won this competition in 1966, it must sting, hey?
Yeah, it has to.
It has to sting.
Uh-huh.
It has to sting. And English English travelers attend the World Cup, but this time it's definitely more expensive for them. And they're gonna feel it because of the European nations that qualified. And we'll also look at Canada and the US, the G7 countries. In England, the final ticket, the cheapest ticket, represents over 10% of the annual income,
Hmm.
which is very significant compared to what they call their peers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we can always link them back to that vote they did with the Brexit. If they're complaining, they should go back and look at Brexit. Because other G7 countries, they can reasonably afford it. Citizens of other G7 countries, they can afford to go.
Hmm.
But in the UK, in England specifically, if it represents 12%, that's by their standard a lot. But definitely their squad, even there are a few places pound for pound, I wouldn't say they don't have one of the top three players in the world.
Wow. That's
Yeah, I think
incredible. Yeah.
the only position would be the goalkeeper. We wouldn't put him with the best five keepers in the world,
Hmm.
but most of their positions, they have very good players, very good players. And even though the estimated value is 1.4 billion, they have players that they left behind who can easily walk into any other team. They left out Cole Palmer of Chelsea, Chelsea's best player by
Hmm.
far. They left out Phil Foden, one of Manchester City's best players.
Wow.
So if they were allowed to bring 30 players, or maybe even one more player, they could easily be worth 1.6 billion.
Jeez.
Yeah. But their chances is that they should win. They could win. They've won it before.
Mhm.
They hope that they win. And me personally, I hope they do not win. They are not nice winners.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they're those, they just win too loud. They're too loud when they're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe Scotland, they don't have a good chance, but Scotland, I think for UK, if someone will support UK, Scotland is the way.
Mhm.
Yeah, the second most valuable squad is also 1.4 billion, that's France.
Yeah.
And then Spain comes in third with a squad worth just above $1 billion. But let's look at Scotland because it's their first World Cup since 1998.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite big for them. And they travel, but even for them, because UK is sort of similar, but for the Scottish, it's a bit more expensive. The final ticket represents 13%, which is about almost the same as England, about the same. And their best result was a group stage exit. And most of their players, they're playing in the big leagues. They have players in the Premier League, Italian League. They have players in Croatia. That's Croatia, England, Scotland, mostly. Yeah, and a couple in Italy. The most notable one will be Scott McTominay. That's the one person to look out for. Then with Scotland, interesting thing for me as an outsider that I saw, and it was weird. Between the 16th and 18th century, there was what they call the Scottish witch trials.
Yeah.
There's some place in the US where there's Days of Our Lives. What's the name of that place about witches?
The witch trials in the United States happened in Salem. They were
Salem.
the Salem witch trials. Yeah.
Yeah. So they say um, it was over 3,000 people who were accused of witchcraft. Over 2,000 were executed, most of them women.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you know when you look at something like this, it's from a long time ago, but we look at how women are treated globally.
Hmm.
Yeah, it shows that we have not really learned anything from history.
Right.
Yeah, and for England, we forgot to mention their interesting people or history. Let me just go up to England quickly. So we'll post the document with the video, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
The document is actually already posted because I knew we were doing this.
oh, okay. So with England, aha. So why am I looking at France? Sorry, I have France open here instead of England.
For England, you did the Peterloo massacre, Alan Turing, and
Alan Turing,
also
yes.
yeah,
Alan Turing, I read this because of the match that's happening in Seattle, and there's also Pride Week in Toronto,
sure.
and they coincide with games. So
Hmm.
Alan Turing, a mathematician who broke the Enigma code and laid the foundation for computer science,
Yeah.
he was prosecuted for people he loved. He
Hmm.
loved he loved differently.
Yes.
Yes, he loved people who shared the same physiology as him. And his death was ruled as a suicide, but he's an interesting person to go look out for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we have nations that are talking about being inclusive.
Right.
Yeah, but we don't mention people like Alan Turing
Hmm.
because when you mention them, you can't write off his contribution to mathematics.
Absolutely. Right.
And then we look at how they treated him.
Hmm.
And then we wonder if whether or not he was homosexual, why do we care about who he was sleeping with?
Right.
Yeah, and that was back in 1952. We're
Well,
in
and then
2000.
yeah, and the other strange thing, you forced the man into chemical castration, even though he was in romantic relationships that could not bear children. How does that make any sense?
Why would they punish someone that way?
Hmm.
I mean, it's not even about the LGBTQIP plus two community,
Sure.
etc., etc. But it's about humans.
Yeah.
This is back in the 50s, but you can find something like this somewhere in the world that's happening today.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's happening today. So it's something that people should just be aware about. And we just putting it in there, it makes sense. The English like wearing the captain's armband. It's usually the rainbow colors
Mm.
to show that they support it. How nice would it be if that armband was LGBT, but then has the name Alan Turing
Turing.
there?
Yeah, absolutely. Uh-huh. Yeah.
It can be small. It doesn't have to be something big.
Right.
They could just have like an armband that says Turing there.
Hmm.
But then they're gonna have to explain to the nation who is this guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the way they don't like talking about him, mm, people will just have to read it here and go look for it themselves.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's it for Europe. Well, for France, I think we can quickly just mention France
Yeah.
because they are also favorites. But the reason I want to mention them is not because they're favorites and they're worth 1.4 billion. I want to mention them. I want to mention them because in West Africa, we're still using the CFA,
Yeah.
the central, it's a Central African franc
Yeah.
used in Western African nations. And it means those nations don't have their own monetary policy.
Hmm.
And a nation without a monetary policy, are they really sovereign?
No.
And one of the person we added there in France, even though he is not French, we added Thomas Sankara because
Hmm.
Burkina Faso didn't qualify. It did not qualify, but we wanted to mention him there because of that West African franc
Yeah.
that's been used there. And he got assassinated in 1987 because he didn't want to use it. So yeah, other countries that qualified in Europe was the Czech Republic, Turkey, Croatia, um, España, Portugal, Deutschland or Germany,
Hmm.
Netherlands. So in when Germany plays there, do you call them Germany or Deutschland?
I mean, there's still a lot of Germans in the United States, but most Americans refer to Germany as Germany.
Okay. And we have Belgium, and I mentioned Croatia. We have the richest country, Switzerland, on paper, the richest
Yeah.
country on paper. We have
Mhm.
Switzerland, Norway, Scotland, Austria, and Sweden, Bosnia and Herzegovina, arguably the poorest nation from Europe,
Sure.
and their squad is worth only 85 million.
Okay.
Yeah, but they have a squad with very old players, but they can beat anyone.
Wow.
Yeah, they're not good, but they are technically acceptable because they do play in big leagues. We don't think they'll beat anyone, but they can also beat anyone. They could be
Wow.
one of those teams, even
Surprise.
though they appear poor, they're actually good. And wrapping up Europe is Czechia, Turkey. Yeah, Czechia and Turkey wraps up Europe. That's 16 European teams.
Wow.
So if Yugoslavia was still around, Europe would have four places still because Czechia is here, Croatia is here, Bosnia and Herzegovina is here. So we have Yugoslavia there too.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the overall look at the World Cup. The document is there. Anyone can just look at the numbers behind every team. You can see the economic data. You can see where players are coming from. There is a whole table of all the clubs, every single club that has loaned the World Cup a player, and that is 459 and 49 players. 440 and 49 clubs, sorry. Yeah,
Mhm.
449 clubs have donated or lent their player to the tournament. So yeah, the person can just go there and download it and read it and give us some feedback. And they can update it too, because some players are going to be injured. They're going to return home and they'll be replaced with someone else.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's all a small percentage. Otherwise, the stage is set. Mexico, South Africa opening on 9 o'clock in Mexico. I don't know whose time 9 o'clock. It could be anyone on Earth, but someone on Earth at
Yeah.
9 o'clock at night, they can watch Mexico versus South Africa. Yeah,
How,
so
how fun. Very exciting. This was a really fantastic way to kick this off. I mean, this has everybody's favorite players, countries, teams. Everybody has something to root for. You add on all of this wonderful cultural data points, economics, the groups. This is just so thorough. People are going to have such a blast
yeah,
seeing what you've done.
with the groups, there's one particular group which we labeled the group of death. In every tournament, there's always a group of death.
Yeah,
So in this tournament, there are actually technically two groups of deaths, but the one that's purely the group of death is the group with it's Sweden, Tunisia, Japan, Netherlands.
wow.
All four of them are strong enough to
Yeah,
beat each other.
to cannibalize each other. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the squad value, it doesn't differ too much, It's only Tunisia. Tunisia's squad value is just as 85 million, but Netherlands is 860 million, Japan 400 million, Sweden 500 million. But Tunisian players play in Europe, so they're good enough to cause an upset. Definitely good enough to cause an upset. And then
Absolutely.
another a group that's not really the group of death. It's the group with Germany, Ecuador, and Cote d'Ivoire, but it
Uh-huh.
has Curacao there. So they all gonna qualify as the best third place
Sure.
because they're banking on beating Curacao by a lot of goals.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hope they Curacao disappoints them.
Yeah.
What a disappointment it would be, hey?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because look at the squad value. Ecuador is 400 million, Ivory Coast 400 million,
Hmm.
Germany 900 million, and
Yeah.
Curacao 17 million.
Yeah.
That just says everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this it's a nice comprehensive thing to have, not just for us to read it to people.
Sure.
Yeah, so yeah, let's go for the fun and games now.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Let the games begin.
we'll
Yeah.
watch closely, and next time we will cover the whole city.
Absolutely. How
Yeah.
fun.
Hmm.
So so great. Any parting words?
Learn that song by, it's called Freed from Desire,
Okay.
because people are gonna, if they don't know that song, they will be confused that what is that song the Germans are singing? What's that song the Scottish are singing? What's
Sure.
that song the Moroccans are singing? Because we're all singing one song.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so freed from desire.
Excellent.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the artist. I can
Okay.
look it up. Can look it up very quickly.
Sure.
Her name is, it's an old song. Freed from Desire. Name is Gala.
Okay.
Yeah, Gala.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freed from Desire. That's the name of the song. When you hear people punching their fist up and saying, "Ooh," it'll be because of that song.
That's
I think
awesome.
it's there's an official World Cup song, but it has a lot of marketing. It can market itself. We're not gonna market it here.
Sure.
There's an official song, but the football song globally is this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's a good
Mhm.
way to end today, my brother.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No.
Congratulations. Good to see you, man. I'm so excited to dive in. We have real matches and real fun stuff.
Oh, I'm so excited about it too, eh? No, we'll keep covering it and uncovering it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we cover to uncover.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Aloha.
Aloha, aloha.